What?
I'll find you. Just hold on and I'll find you.
I'm hanging on by a thread, and all I'm clinging to is prayers. And every breath is like a battle. I feel like I ain't come prepared. And death's knocking on the front door. Pain's creeping through the back. Fears crawling through the windows. Waiting for 'em to
Find you.
What?
I'm just messing stuff up over here. I got a comment about that song from somebody yesterday.
You
Said
did?
that they totally could relate to it, and every time they heard it, they were crying.
That's a
So,
good
hey,
song.
everybody. Welcome to our show, The Other Side of Mental Health. This is episode number 3. We were supposed to do it last night, so apologies. We just had some friends over, and we got busy, and we're doing some stuff. If you see us looking back and forth, we've got 2 computers stacked on top of each other. So today's episode, we're going to talk about numbing, right? So kind of what we went through in the whole numbing process. I have to go over here and share this to another page because Facebook kind of likes to be a little bit tricky.
Oh. So, hi. Welcome. How's your Saturday? Well, that's a nice frozen face that you made of me.
No, that's just temporarily. Okay. So numbing, right? So it's kind of a big topic.
Mm-hmm. So we kind of went back and forth between, kind of gave you guys the dialogue of what got us, like where we ended last time with the 5150 stuff and everything, and kind of brought you up to that speed.
Some of the doctors.
But before we get into like the doctors and all of those things, I think it was important, Corey and I were talking, that we go back and we kind of give you guys a little bit of history of what led us to this, because it went on for a couple years. My Tupac thing's bothering me. Anyways, so it went on for a couple years. And so as time went on and we were going to try and help, I was taking Corey to the doctor, he was going to the doctor, and he was trying to find help. He was trying to figure out what was wrong with him, like we told you, and going through all of this. So while all of this is happening, he is self-medicating and basically treating himself, right?
Well, not really treating, trying to
basically
just
trying
to shut my mind off,
it,
right? Because it
right?
was so fucked up. So then just trying to shut stuff off.
Well, and I think that goes without saying, and I think it's important that we talk about this. So numbing is such a huge subject, right? It's not just around mental health, but I think a lot of people that struggle with mental health are numbing because they don't know that they have a problem, or that they have an issue,
or they have an issue and they can't.
Or they have an issue and they don't have the help for it.
Right.
Or, there's hundreds of millions of ways that you can think of numbing yourself, something, if you're depressed about, any kind of, physical thing that happened to you in your life, mental, whatever it is, right? But for us, in going through it, Corey and I, those of you that know us, we've always been the partiers. Like, we like to have fun and get down with everybody, So I'm thinking, okay, well, that's fine. Like, let's have drinks, and you seem better when we're having these drinks. And then in comes the weed, and it's like, okay, let's smoke weed because you seem better when you do that, right? And we got along better during that time. And it was because it kind of, when you drink and you're in that state, it erases all reality, and you're just in that moment. It forces you to be present of where you are. You're no longer thinking about the 45 million things that aren't working in your life. It
didn't erase the stuff for me. It actually made me more depressed.
Well, it made him more depressed, but for me, it erased
depressed.
it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. For her, we had 2 different things. Right?
Yeah.
2 different medications.
So
self-medication.
But initially, it didn't make you more depressed. It didn't make him more depressed initially. What it did is, like, during those moments, he would start to feel better. But then the next day, when he would wake up, where we all have a hangover, right? He has severe depression, and he's crying again. And, I don't know anything about depression. I know nothing. I'm not a doctor, right? So I'm like,
and she's never had depression.
And I've never had depression. So, as it's going on and that continues to happen, I'm now drinking with him. Judgment, criticism, people's opinions are coming in. Corey's doing too much pot, Corey's drinking too much, you're drinking too much, like all of this judgment's coming in, right? So mind you, we're still dealing with the mental health aspect of what's going on. We don't know that was going on at the time. We just couldn't figure out what was wrong. But we just masked it. We just put a big freaking mask over it and said, you know what, fuck it. Like, we're just going to drink until we figure it out, or we're going to smoke pot until we're laughing our asses off, because this feels good and this is all we knew. You know, that's what we're familiar with.
But for me, it led to, oh geez, I mean, I'd go get a 12-pack of beer plus at least 2 tall beers, and I would drink those
every night,
or it was a whole bottle of Jameson whiskey I would put down. And it got bad, right? And it got bad to where the point where I was drinking every single day, right? And some of you that have been following me for a while know that I quit drinking for a long time. And I quit drinking for a long time to get my mind straight, right? Was there a problem? I don't know. Well, there was a problem there. Yes, there was a problem. But was there, alcoholic problem? No, I don't think so.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of history around that, but I think the self-medicating, when Corey and I were sitting there talking, kind of later on, like after all of this, he had said to me, I don't know, like right later on, he was like, hey, like, I feel like I've been doing this my whole life, right? Which makes so much sense, right? I've been self-medicating myself my whole life.
Absolutely. I've been on SSRIs. Every fucking one you can think of since I was 17 years old. And they either made me a zombie or didn't do anything.
Yeah. But not just that, but like with the drinking and the partying and all of that.
Oh, yeah.
There was never an off switch, there was never like a button that went off. So looking back, and I'm like, shit, like this has been going on a long time. So then he was like recollecting and thinking, shoot, I think I've had this since I was a kid, and I'm like, I believe that. But here I am, like, I'm no better. I'm over here having cocktails and everything with him. Well, what the heck else am I supposed to do? It's like, okay, like I want to be with him and I want to be a part of what he's going through. Right. And our way of connecting at that time became that, which was horrible. So it got real bad. It got real bad. And I remember a night, there was this couple episodes that had happened, and, we had friends or family over, and, we're all sitting around, and I was just begging Corey to go get help or go find a doctor or anything, right? Because whenever I would try to tell him, hey, this is what you should do, or this is what I think, he would basically tell me to fuck off, because he didn't want me to tell him how to do something that I had no idea what he was going through, right? And that for me was hard, because I could see the outside looking in, and I'm like, dude, like, you need this help. Like, you've got to go see this doctor. And then he would resist even more, right? And so that was really hard. So it got to the point where I stopped asking and I stopped talking about it, because it was making us fight. It was horrible. And he was taking it as like I was placing judgment on him, about his behaviors. And then I would tell him, like, the kids are suffering. I'm suffering. And then he would go to a place of like, well, everybody is just suffering because of me, and just sob and like fall on the ground and cry, and I'm like, dude, no, like, that's not what I'm saying. Like, I want you to get this help. And so we went through this him and haw for a long time, right? And the numbing continued through all of it. And there's a lot of our friends that were around during that time. And one of the times we were sitting on a couch, and we had been trying so hard to get into this one doctor, right? Over and over again, like trying. And this isn't even the one that ended up helping us in the long run. But we were sitting on the couch. Remember, it was like Robin and Sandy and all of them. And like, we're sitting there. Remember. Yeah. So we're sitting on the couch, and we're all having cocktails and hanging out. And I know that when your brother listens to it and everybody else, they'll know exactly the day I was talking about. I was sitting there with Corey, and I'm like, hey, so what happened, did that doctor ever get a hold of you? And he was like, yeah, but I'm not going to that. And we had been waiting 3 weeks, and he just decides to tell me right then that he had connected with the doctor, but that's not what he wanted to do at the time. And
I kind of remember this.
Yeah. And we got in a huge fight. Huge fight because, this battle had been going on for.
It was Dr. Sack.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, no, it was Dr. Sack.
Yeah,
no, it was. I remember now.
Yeah, but it had been going on for months, right?
The reason why I wouldn't want to go to him is because the way he
treated
the way he medically treated me when I was in the 5150. Like I was in the 5150 and I went in and he didn't even tell me what medicine I was on. He literally gave me 30 seconds to talk, cut me off.
Pushing me off this bar stool.
Oh, sorry. Come on, scoot over, Tupac. And so he would. I literally walked into his office in the 50 ward, and he literally gave me 30 seconds to talk, and then just wrote me a prescription, right, and basically kicked me out of his office. So, but I told him to fuck off. I was pissed, right? I was because I finally felt like I was going to get help, and then I got literally into his office for a minute and a half for him to listen to me for 30 seconds, write me a script, and kick me out. Yeah. Right, and I was back in my bed. Yeah. And it was a horrible experience. So. When I got the appointment with him, I had like anxiety and resentment and a whole bunch of shit that came up. Fear, like he's not going to listen to me, and made all these things up, right? And to this day, I don't know. I still wouldn't go back and see him, but that's what
happened. I was, but at that time too, me encouraging, not knowing that he was feeling that way, and then getting pissed at him because it was like, dude, what are you talking about? Like you finally got an appointment and you're not going to go. Like we're all suffering over here. And now you're trying to make logical decisions that make no fucking sense. Like seriously, I can't do it. So I just would continue to numb more. And I was like, I don't even want to fucking deal with you anymore. This is now your problem. I don't know what to say. Right. And I was done with it. I was so angry and I was so done with it. And we got in a huge fight and it just kept escalating, and I think it might've been that night. He continued to drink tons like that night. Like it was
probably
a ridiculous amount. And he went out to the garage and destroyed the garage in front of Braden, like destroyed it, and was on his hands and knees on the floor in like a fetal position, crying his heart out. And I'm just over him going, yeah, too fucking bad. Because I was so pissed because it's like, dude, I'm trying to help you. You keep telling me to fuck off. So what do you want from me? You want me to like fuck off, or do you want me to help you? And while he's on the floor crying, he's still telling me to fuck off. So I'm pissed. I'm upset. The kids are crying. It was a whole shit show, a disaster. And you got to remember, you bring in smoking pot and drinking on top of all of that, on top of all there was no mental clarity for either one of us. So I had to stop and like get my own shit together so I could help him. And that was really hard because I was so mad at him. Like I just wanted it. I wanted a divorce. I was done. Like, let your family deal with this because I don't want to fucking deal with it. And I was only trying to come from a place of love always, and Corey never could see that. And maybe it was opinionated or harsh at times, but God, it had to be, right? Because who's going to listen? He didn't want to listen, and he wasn't listening to anyone. He was so caught in his own mind. So it literally took me giving him that choice. Like, I don't want to be with you anymore. Heat up. I'm like, I can't do this. Like, I don't want to be with you anymore. And I don't want to do this. And then that was so hard and detrimental for both of us. What?
You want me to do the door?
No. Is there someone there? I didn't even hear anything.
Going crazy. Maybe there's no one there.
It's just Hank being dumb. Anyway, so anyway, but the point is, and is like, and maybe some of you can relate to that, right? It's like, you're like really trying hard to help that person and they keep telling you to fuck off. And you're
I'll tell you from my perspective, right? Like,
yeah,
you said yours, I'll tell mine. then the reason why I resisted so much is it's, I don't know how to explain for those of you who've been through it, you understand, but those of you who would not, you won't understand. This is not like your girlfriend left you, your wife left you, and you're depressed and upset about it. That's not what depression is like. All right, it's fucking the darkest thing. Like I've had girlfriends break up and everything else and crush my heart and been depressed over it for, a week, 2 weeks, whatever. And this isn't like that. This is just, you wake up and the devil's telling you to put a fucking gun in your mouth, right? Like it's hopeless, right? Because the doctors can't help you. I certainly couldn't help myself. My wife didn't understand where I was mentally, right? But she's trying to help from her perspective, right? Which thank you.
You're welcome. Well, and
sorry I put you through that.
It's okay. Well, it's okay now.
No, I know.
But
it's just fucking hard.
But I didn't quit because, and Corey has always been like, as long as him and I have been together, and I think this is like a key thing for anybody that goes through any kind of relationship stuff, is like, you're going to have hard times, you're going to have ups and downs, but love will always prevail, right? And
For
so,
sure, yeah.
But for us, it was like, I always had to shove him so far in a corner before he would even like recognize that there was a problem, right? And that led to us, almost divorcing like 3 times.
Yeah, right.
And so that's the truth. And like, I'm actually really proud of us today because we always stood in each other's corner and listened when it got really, really hard. And sometimes it has to get that fucking hard for you to listen. And those are the moments that most people will walk away. And I was one of them,
biggest fear of being homeless.
Yeah.
Right. Because you were over it. Right.
Yeah.
And, how much is my family going to put up with? Right. Like,
yeah.
I probably would have ended up just walking out or,
and I
ending it.
Right? I couldn't actually share with Corey, like during that time, how the boys actually felt,
we'll bring them on. We'll bring them on.
Yeah, but just, I'm just going to give a high level, I would talk to them and they would say, we know, Mom, we know, but they loved their dad and they loved me. So they were unsure of what to do, but they just didn't like to see both of us hurting,
Yeah.
And I was hurting because like, here I am fighting for what am I fighting for? Like, what am I going to be stuck with? Like this fucking guy, like that doesn't even like, is this what I'm going to be dealing with the rest of my life? Seriously? Because I want out. No way. No thanks.
Oh, I don't blame you, right?
Oh, I wanted out. And then the anger and all of that. So with the depression came anger and hostility, and that just manifested even bigger. And then he would always take it out on all of us that were the closest to him. So he would take it out on me. He would take it on the kids. And, I in the beginning, I would take offense to it. But as time went on, I just learned how to blow him off because I was like, this isn't about me, And then I would have to tell the kids, hey, just, ignore what Dad's saying. It's fine. Or like they would always come to me like, what's wrong with Dad? What's Dad? How's Dad today? It was like every day waking up and not knowing what the fuck you were going to get. You didn't know if it was going to be a great day or a terrible day. Well, that's what it was for you. But for us, it was like, what am I going to deal with today? While I'm maintaining a job and taking care of 3 kids, like it was just a lot. And then I had kid number 4 in a sense, because I'm like, okay, where's that mental state going to be today?
Crazy kid.
So when it came 5:00 and it was time for cocktail hour, I'm all in because I had already dealt with all that shit all day long. And it was always about him, always. And it got to the point where I had to tell him, like, listen, it's not always just about you, okay? Like, we have children and it's my life too. And if like, we're going to get through this, you need to fucking do something. Like, you need to get help. And I don't know what that looks like. I'll help you. I can't promise you I'm going to stay, but I will help you get there. Right. Cause I, at that point, was ready to go. But anyway, but that's the long story of the numbing. You know, him and I have gone back and forth with drinking and non-drinking, and, you know, and Corey did an amazing job for, like, you know, once he got the help that he needed, he pulled out of the numbing and just started to get clear. You know, I think doing the 75 hard really helped you. Like,
hell
to
yeah.
be clear. Mm-hmm.
Oh, for sure. That I think that really kicked
Mm-hmm.
off.
And I had a friend of ours challenge me to 90 days with no drinking. And I'm like, dude, but I did it, you know, and we got through it.
Then you did hard. You did
45 hard.
45.
But, you know, I think through all of that time, the numbing, I think, was the hardest thing, because that numbing was allowing us to connect and disconnect.
Mohammed, this is live.
Yeah, it was allowing us to connect and disconnect at the same time, which is quite frightening. But
Right.
Anyway, so that's numbing in a nutshell. I think, you know, we were going to talk about some suicide stuff, but I think that's a whole another episode, and I think we should save that for next week.
Yeah, I think so too. Right. I think that's a whole different thing to talk about, because I think there's going to be a lot of. I think there's going to be a lot of people who relate to suicide, right? Not just mental health stuff, right? I mean, let me just ask: have you ever thought about suicide? Right.
I have not.
A high percentage of you who are listening to this right now will probably say yes.
Yeah. But I have never. He asked me that the other day, and I really had to think about it. And I thought, you know what? No, like, I've never thought about killing myself. You know why? Because I've always thought it was so selfish.
Yeah, no, it is selfish.
But I
It is
don't
selfish,
understand
for sure.
it. But anyways, so next week, I'm gone.
She's gone for 10 days. So we're going to skip next week.
Yeah.
And then we'll be back the week after next.
Yeah. And then Corey and I will talk about suicide and that whole, well, he's going to mainly talk about that, because I don't know a lot about it, but I know
Yeah, that'll be
how it
my
affected us.
topic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So have a great night.
That's going to be a hard topic.
I know. They're all
Everybody
fun.
have a great Saturday.
Okay.
Appreciate all of you.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
Be
and
well.
Message us if you need anything. We're always here.
Absolutely.
So have a great weekend.
Thanks.